Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the Gayest Goth from youtube.com/thegayestgoth and tiktok.com/@thegayestgoth. Before I proceed, my Venmo is at the Gayest Goth. That's all one word. That's at the rate THEGAYES as in son, TGOTH. I need funds, and here's why. So, I am the former romantic partner of Aditya Udai Singh, aka Addy, ADI, who was also known as the O'Hare Man, the idiot that stayed at the Chicago O'Hare Airport for 88 to 90 days, and had a badge that belonged to an operations manager of the Chicago O'Hare International Airport. On December 22nd, 2020, Addy called me and informed me, it was sometime during the day, I live in Salt Lake City, or I used to. I don't live in Salt Lake City right now, but he called and told me that, he confirmed what I'd suspected. He actually was still in the United States, although at this point his visa had not long since expired, it actually just expired. Addy and I met, or rather he approached me on March 31st, 2020, at the very, very beginning of the pandemic. I was houseless at a Target shopping cart full of my belongings with my 2 cats in carriers, tied to my suitcase. And he approached me and he said, because I look feminine, so it was okay. But he said, "Miss, can I give you something?" And me having just been harassed by the police 15 minutes prior, the very first words I said to him was, "What you got?" Another lady gave me $6 before that, so I was able to go into CVS and buy 2 cell phone mirrors, one of which is actually on my phone right now. So I offered Addy if he wanted to come home to Salt Lake City. Yes, Aditya and we were on a lease together. We were in a romantic relationship. He lied and told me that his visa expired on July 20th, 2020, 2 days before his 36th birthday. Mary Steele, his former housemate, the one who ran her mouth about me in the Chicago Tribune, and also lied about a whole bunch of things, and, saying, "Oh, you can read the article." Like I said, if you just search O'Hare Man, Mary Steele, Chicago Tribune, I'm not going to link it, but I'm not doing all that shit. She said that, in the article, she said, she knows Addy. I know Addy had a falling out with a friend, a financial fallout with a friend, but I don't know if that's related. Well, actually, it was related. He actually lied several times and said that he was in India. He paid for a hotel room for me, and when it came to find out, he actually was 9 minutes away from the hotel that he had me staying in. And during that time, I have type 2 diabetes. I was dying of thirst. I was dehydrated. I was constantly hungry. And he was just essentially keeping me in a room so that he could have somebody else to torture. Here's why. Addy went to school and got a bullshit-ass degree in fucking hospitality management, something he didn't want. He wanted to become a YouTuber and all that other fun shit and TikTok. By the way, his channel, his image, all that brand shit, Fun with Bubby, I'm now the owner of that. He did transfer the rights of that bullshit to me, and I have the emails to verify that, so just want to let you know. If you go to the channel Fun with Bubby, it's fun space with space Bubby, it's a stupid teddy bear he has, you actually hear him talking about me, the Gayest Goth, in one of his videos, and how he mistreated me and lied to me. Originally, that was for a fundraiser for a $300,000 trust fund, which he didn't give me. So again, my mother and I, we got on a 3-way call, and I called my mom, and my mother, I'm not going to say where she lives, y'all don't fucking know that, but I called my mother, and I was like, "Mama, Addy is trapped at the airport in Chicago. Can we buy him a flight?" Addy was on the phone. And my mama, she was like, "Yeah, well, help. I got you. We're not going to leave you stranded out of that bush." Well, as it turns out, Addy already had plans to catch a Greyhound. Here's how I found this out. Mary Steele said that in the Chicago Tribune, in the article where, she ran her mouth. She said that he contacted her at some time in like October, November, which was after I'd spoken with her to inform her of what Addie was doing and how he was behaving. And this is the kind of person you're living with, just so you know. So she said in the article that she and Carl F. Jones, the other person he lived with, and Bill F. Jones, which like the 94, 95, probably now man with dementia that Addie was taking care of, in exchange for free boarding. He wasn't paying rent like he had me under the impression he was doing. And she said in the article that we were going to buy him a bus ticket. So the reason why Addie was actually at the Chicago O'Hare Airport is because he flat out ran out of money trying to destroy and abuse me. He thought he found a person who was weak. I was disadvantaged, but not weak. I was living outside on the street. That's how, he met me. Literally sitting on a brick wall, hoping somebody would buy me a bag of groceries. I didn't even want fucking money. I just wanted some shit to eat. That's all. And he took me to a place called Mary's Kitchen. I just wanted to get out the area. I had been in that area for a couple of weeks at that point. And because my shopping cart was like 350 pounds, or maybe even 400, it was heavier than me. I was having trouble pushing it and all that other bullshit, and he let me load up all my stuff in his car, which was really nice. He had a red 2010 Toyota Camry, and later he bought me a red 2008 Toyota Camry. Couldn't find out, he bought all that shit on credit. He and I moved to Salt Lake City. He stayed here with me until the morning of, I think, July 18th. Yeah, it was July 18th, because I have a video of me crying, because, that was my best friend, or so I thought at the time, was leaving. Well, other things transpired in process of that. Addie stole services from my former business attorney, Christian Thompson, of Business Franchise Law in Salt Lake City. Addie also stole and defrauded. So yeah, he defrauded my business attorney. He also stole and defrauded Darcy of 2 local gals, as well as the carpet cleaning service that had been hired by Darcy. They never got any payment. And he defrauded an independent housekeeping and pet sitting couple by the name of Emily Smullen and Juan Betancourt. The purpose of this video is for legalities only. I will not be participating in any programs or interviews or all that stuff, and I'm going to state, please do not contact these people unless it is for an investigation. And Addie also, he scammed my mother into buying a plane ticket. My mother doesn't have that kind of money to give up, but even if she did, that's not the point. So the name of the airlines that the ticket was purchased on, it was purchased on Frontier Airlines for $174 and a few cents. He was acting like an idiot. This nigga was acting an ass, so I canceled the flight. But then I don't know, he said something or did something, so I did rebook the flight. He was aware of it. I did tell him. He had all the information. So before he says, oh, I wasn't informed, I didn't know, again, I have access to both of those email accounts in which, he did know, he was given a reservation number, but his visa had already expired. And this was around the time of the Capitol riot. So, everybody who was taking a flight, everyone's names were being checked. So he would have gotten busted anyway. But at one point, I was Addie's emergency contact. So he did contact me several times from the jail. Also, there was another thing. I was illegally evicted in May of, or I want to say rather it was, what the fuck was it? It was April of 2021. I spoke with an attorney who does not represent me. His name is Jeff Inquist. He's located in Salt Lake City. I told him what was going on, and I told him about my then attorney, James Spendlove, who no longer represents me. And I had been informed that James' name did not appear anywhere on the docket. And I was a victim of malpractice. So, and he was still trying to get money from me. And just, James actually took the retainer, not detainer. He took part of my retainer and he gave it to Brian Porter, the landlord's attorney, And then he had enough nerve to try to be like, hey, you need to give me more money. I'm like, I did not at any point agree for you to take money from my detainer to give to the person that you're supposed to be fighting against. You know, and then it found out, he sent this email, and the email said that, it said, oh, I had to stop working with me, the gayest goth. I had to work with the gayest goth because it was getting too difficult. And I'm sitting here like, you're not supposed to say all that. I ain't fucking stupid, bitch. But anyway, so thank you, Jeff Inquist. Again, who does not represent me, but I did talk about it, and he did inform me that James Spinlove did malpractice. I had a couple of other attorneys before, but no, I didn't have a couple of other attorneys. I did work with Utah Legal Services, but that relationship ended. Not going to go into detail why, but long story short, apparently I was requesting them to do something that they didn't do, and then the relationship just ended. So that really was it. But yeah, I haven't really found any good attorneys that I could trust. And the one that I did trust, he just, you know, he doesn't do those types of cases, or he, you know, wasn't willing to take it on. But it didn't matter. Like I said, his name was Jeff Inquist. He gave me a lot of really good information. So Jeff, thank you for that. I really appreciate it, my dear. But like I said, he doesn't represent me, but he did inform me that James Spinlove did indeed malpractice and literally fucking stole money from me to give it to Brian Porter from MBT Law. So there's that matter. Also, throughout all of this, I did wind up, you know, being evicted illegally. I was denied a right to a fair hearing. I'd been diagnosed with pre-cancer, and I was going to the hospital a lot. The morning that there was court, the day before that I had to appear in court, because Addy had actually also been, he was actually served while he was in jail. And I'm going to assume that Addy's public defender, Courtney Smallwood, just pretended none of that happened. However, there is a listing in the Salt Lake court system for Aditya Singh to appear at an eviction hearing, but he did, you know, hide that from Adrienne E. Davis. Hey, Adrienne, what's up? The judge said he has to appear in front of Adrienne, so, because I don't call people Your Honor. So, but I just want to let you know, Adrienne, that that's what's going on. As for him attempting to escape, it's my I know my former partner really well. He had a mental health breakdown. I told him flat out I was going to sue him, but at the same time, we were still in a relationship at the time, and y'all did not call and tell me that, and I only found out on the news after NBC Chicago's Phil, I cannot think of that guy's name. What is his name? You know what? What is his name? Phil. I have his name in my phone. I don't know that dude's name. Oh yeah, this nigga name was Phil Rogers. He ambushed me in a virtual courtroom when I had been trying to look for Addie at the time, because I hadn't heard from Addie in 48 hours. And I couldn't find out Addie was sleeping on top of an elevated railroad viaduct. And it just happened to not snow that particular weekend. Otherwise, he would have frozen to death. And the halfway house that Addie is staying at, which is called a safe haven. That's where he's housed at right now. He's not walking around the general public. Addie told me later that there were no counselors. You know, there at 6 o'clock in the morning, there was no one for him to talk to. And another asshole who worked there named Alan lied and told me that Addie was in the kitchen when actually Addie had already been gone. So Alan fucking told on himself, guilty conscience, you know, whatever the fuck. And I just didn't appreciate that. Because even though Addie has committed, you know, multiple crimes, he's lied, he's withheld information, as well as Courtney Smallwood, who honestly just needs to have her license to practice revoked, because James Spinlove actually did reach out and send an email to her, but she also knows that Addie was served while he was in jail. Like I said, the court documents, they're available in Salt Lake City. And we both had to appear. I could not, because I was at the hospital the day before. I'd just been diagnosed with pre-cancer, and there was a lot of stuff going on, including this bullshit with Addie. This cost me, you know, like, I want to say about $25,000 with the bank that I was with, because I had to overdraft This is while Addy was lying because he fabricated having a job. Turns out he didn't have a job. He was in California when he actually told me that he was in India. He did that multiple times. He was in Orange, California. And he also was in Orange, California all of the times where he pretended to be in India. And there were 2 times when the first one was I was feeling a little bit stronger, and this was in April. And I said, hey, this ain't going to work, time for us to part ways. Because Addy had actually, let me use Lyft and stuff like that. But then, he blocked my number, trying to like pull and control, bullshit and not happening. Like, I have a YouTube channel. I've been on YouTube since 2006. I started making videos in 2009. I started out on Musical.ly, which later became TikTok. I started, first Musical.ly I ever posted was in 2016. And then recently I started doing it more, but I had to take some of those down. I don't want my image spread all over the place, but I offered multiple news outlets to do an interview, and they were not interested. They wanted some bullshit, or they're like, oh, can you call him while he's in jail? No, I'm not fucking doing that. But you know what? If y'all want to talk to him, you know where he's at. He's up at Cook County Jail. So, Mary Steele, Carl F. Jones, even after they'd spoken to me, because I was actually on a 3-way with all of them at one point. Me, Addie, and Carl. Me, Addie, and Mary. Addie would just continue flat out lying. And Mary Steele chose to continue helping him. In the article, she mentioned the dates where she found out that he was at the airport. And those were after she talked to me. After I told her who he was, what's going on, I did call her. She's like, Addy Singh in a homosexual relationship? Well, yeah, bitch. Like, I don't fucking know you. I figured since Bill F. Jones was like 94 years old, he would have a landline. I was correct. That's how I found his information. I looked it up online. He did have a landline. I asked to speak with Mary Steele because she was the youngest. I spoke with her. I had a few conversations with her. And she was talking about getting doing some other shit she ain't had no business. And then when I did talk to Addy again, because he kept calling me from the jail, in his mind, he was harassing me. I'm saying he was harassing me, but in his mind, he still had control of me. Now I'm saying, quote, still had control of me, end quote. Motherfucker ain't never had control of me. That's not the case, but I have a very small, tiny little film company. It's not a particularly large thing. It's very little. It's called Lemon Bar Productions. And as it turns out, those were, making TikToks or, being like YouTube famous and shit. It turns out that those are the things that Addy wanted to do. But he is like, oh, you're going to do it? I'm going to try to stop you. Now, during this whole time when Addy was living with me in Salt Lake City, because that's where he's from. He lived with me. We were in a relationship, romantic, all of that bullshit. Addy has met my family. We did go on a road trip last summer, 2 actually. And one was driving from California in my car that he bought for me, again, on debt. As it turns out, he bought everything on debt. He sold his 401k, and he gave me $2,000 saying it was a bonus. But then he also started building up a story about his, quote, boss. Because he wasn't in India, his, end quote, yeah, boss, saying, oh, my boss is having trouble paying me. And I was like, well, it doesn't matter. It's like, he can't make you work for free and not pay you. You already did the work. So I realized later, this started in August, what Addy started doing, he was trying to build up like a little story to kind of gradually make it seem like he just got laid off and lost his job. But truth is again, he did not have a job. He hadn't worked at that point in about 1.5 years. Because Mary Steele is so beautiful. I mean, this dumb bitch just runs her mouth about everything. But Mary, I will, I will appreciate the fact that you have helped thus far in this matter by running your mouth in the Chicago Tribune. She did try to contact me about 4 months ago. Right now, I live in a hotel. I spent the entire summer hotel hopping, paying for storage, food, and I had to use overdraft, my business funds. Again, that would have been dedicated to my business. Those accounts were closed. They claim that they did everything they did. I don't really like those people anymore because I did explain to them literally this particular circumstance, and the CEO, this was at the university, or whatever the fuck, University Federal Credit Union. he just turned out to be an asshole, and I didn't really appreciate that much. But I still owe them money, and that's community money, you know, and I do want to pay them back, but I'm at a point to where I can barely survive. I've had to ask people at this point to, like, can you pay for a night, 2 nights? This has cost me, I had to stop making videos and content because I was being harassed. I did not want to have my face dragged through the media, anything like that. And I'm now, you know, getting back into making, you know, videos and going back to my life, because this motherfucker might be in jail for fucking 2 years. But I just wanted to let you know, Adrienne E. Davis, and Courtney Smallwood, you know, because, well, Courtney knows, she's up here playing dumb. But see, I'm not really for that. If a person does shit, then they need to pay the price for it, okay? There are things that I did when I was younger, you know, like not paying rent. And although it, again, was the fault of somebody else, I still had to leave. You know, there were consequences for my actions when I made mistakes or when I didn't make mistakes. You know, like there's are consequences for things. And I just wanted to let you know, Adrienne E. Davis, you know, Aditya Udai Singh's judge, that Courtney Smallwood was aware that Addie was served in jail about, you know, being evicted here in Salt Lake City, Utah. Addie did call me 3 times from the jail. I guess in his mind, he was controlling me. The motherfucker never had control of me. And he had no intention of telling you that he was from Salt Lake City, because when he left Salt Lake, because like I said, I'm not in fucking Salt Lake, I wish I was, but when he left from Salt Lake City on the morning of, like, at around like 7 a.m. on the morning of July 18th, 2020, he told me he was getting on a flight to India. And he would send me like fake, like flight information, like flight tracking info, and I couldn't track it. You know, I was like, what is this? Why can I not track your flights? And another time I spoke with him, and I said, Addy, are you in Orange? And he said, no. And I said, that old man just answered the phone. I was like, there's no way in hell that that dude just called you 3-way. So I was suspicious already, but that confirmed it. So he did scam and defraud people that I had relationships in Salt Lake City with. Addie told Mary Steele that he was going to Texas to help a friend move, when in fact he was actually living with me, his partner, you know, in Salt Lake City, driving around. And when he left from here, Salt Lake, you know, he went back to California and told me he was in India. He also did that, like I said, while I was at the hotel that he was paying for. It turns out motherfucker was 9 minutes away, and was happy to let me be dehydrated because I was having trouble getting water. He stole money from me twice. And like I said, if you want to hear him admit those things, actually go to that video where it says Hurricane Laura fundraiser for my partner, the gayest goth. That's me, this beautiful man right here. What's up, baby? And you'll hear about all that. But he stayed at the airport because he knew he was in trouble, and he was trying to make his way back to California because his visa had expired and he was going to get caught, you know, on Frontier Airlines. Like I said, this was at the time of the Capitol riots, when everybody's name was being checked, and he didn't go. He was trying to get back to California. Mary Steele actually did tell me in a phone conversation, she's like, you know, California, it's, you know, you're just, if you're undocumented, you can stay here. I mean, that's true, but I mean, like, this is for people whose lives are actually in danger, not some stupid, dirty fucking Indian who came here, went to school for fucking, you know, 4 or 5 years, you know, had a 401k, you know, had fucking health insurance, all of this benefits, you know, at like my expense, like my tax dollars. Because I'll tell you, like, the average American at age 35 just does not have what Addie had. Me personally, having been houseless, I have never been able to go to school longer than 2 semesters in a row without it almost physically and literally killing me, because I originally was a dance major at City College, San Francisco, and I would like sleep on the ground. I would be dying literally from like dancing and swimming and working out for like 12 to 13 hours a day, only to go sleep outside on the ground in the cold for, 5 or 6 hours, not eating enough. I did almost die on the back of the 49 in my summer semester at, CCSF. And that's been my whole life because, my parents threw me away. I didn't have a good support network. I never had a chance. And I'm struggling even more now because some dirty fucking Indian named Aditya Udai Singh, it was like, oh, I fucked up my life because I made bad decisions. And this nigga is sitting here jealous because I'm doing films and, like making TikToks and like having made YouTube videos. And that's what he wanted to do. And I'm like, well, that's not really my problem. But like, nigga, you never had control of me. But I'll tell you another thing. You also didn't have control of yourself, Addie Bear. But that's not my problem. Now, he didn't try to escape on purpose. He's stupid, but he had a breakdown. So don't get him for that. But please contact the people whose names I mentioned. Again, that is my former business attorney, Christian Thompson of businessfranchiselaw.com in Salt Lake City, Utah, Emily Smullen, and Juan Betancourt. And I can give you their phone numbers, Adrienne, if that's if you all need it. And Darcy from Two Local Gals and the carpet cleaning service that she hired that last came to our house. And yeah, so I was under the impression that Eddie was in India. He was not. He was right here in the United States. Mary Steele said that, because again, I don't know her, never met her. She did try to call me again 4 months later. And I just sent her a text message. I was like, bitch, don't contact me. I'm like, whatever fucking problems you got with Addie, that's your issue. At the time, the person who was representing me and malpracticing was James Spinlove. And I told her, I said, if you want to talk to him, you can contact him. If you would like to represent me, you can contact me at jahnecakes@protonmail.com. There is another attorney that I'm currently speaking to. He is not my attorney. His name is, what is his name? Let's see. What's his name? His name is Jeff Becker. Again, he does not represent me. And he may not, and that's okay. I just needed a little bit of information to see what direction I needed to go. But Jeff Becker currently does not represent me. He may not represent me. He may. I don't know. It depends. But it's a two-way street, So I've learned a lot about that. So, but that's currently who I'm, trying to get a little teeny tiny of advice from, because, he's not my lawyer. And, if it's dangerous to give legal advice to somebody who doesn't represent you. But oftentimes they may not be able to give you like specific legal advice, but they can give you a referral to someone else, or they can send you off, into the right direction. But I will not disclose the matter of that conversation that I had with Mr. Becker. And I will be returning your call tomorrow, Jeff. So thank you for that. But as I said, my Venmo is at the Gayest Goth. I do have to continue paying for housing. I do need to get food, and I do have 3 cats to take care of that I love very much. And that's really all. Adrienne, please look into that matter. Addie has perjured. He has lied. He and Courtney Smallwood have withheld information. He was served while he was in jail. I assume, despite the fact that Brian Porter may have malpractice, I don't know. I know James Spinlove did, but I'm sure that he will happily inform you that Addie was served while he was in jail by mail. He was also served via email, and he did know what was going on, but he left me to struggle with it. After he lied about having a job, he said he worked at a company that sold medical supplies, but it turns out he did not have that job at all. He just created a little situation to kind of pretend to lead up to it. Like, oh, and then one day he was like, oh, Cafe, I lost my job. And I was like, okay, but rent still has to be paid. That's what we agreed on. And you had me sign a lease, under false pretenses that you had a job. and you didn't want to continue. At one point, he even threatened. He's like, I'm not going to pay your attorney. And I'm like, why would you say that? I was like, you know, like, why? Well, I'm just saying, like, it wasn't like an act. Like, why would you say that? I was just like, why would you say that? I told him, I was like, if I want to keep Christian as an attorney, that's up to me. But I just can't blame the man for not wanting to work with somebody who hasn't paid him. Although the agreement was that Addie was paying James. It was not me. It was Addie. It wasn't me. I did not have money. At the time, I was recovering from houselessness because being on the streets for like 4 or 5 years, it is really hard on your body. I'm tired. I'm exhausted all the time. And then this has just cost me almost $100,000. That's with like overdrafts, and then other things. My family has like paid for my room here and there, but people are running out of money. I've been out of money. Matter of fact, I actually don't have anything right now. I have like $17 to my name right now. I may have some change somewhere. My storage is overdue. That's everything that I had in my house. That's $320. I have my phone bill coming up. Also, if you're interested, I am starting a youth shelter called the Crescent Youth Housing Alliance. That's something I came up with in 2006 when I was a lyric, youth Castro kid. And now I'm doing it. Winter's coming, it's starting to get cold. And that's a time when a lot of street kids panic. Like situations like mine, this actually isn't uncommon for someone to be like, oh, I'm going to be, it's like, well, nigga, no, what you did was you lied to me and you wasted time instead of, taking this nigga. Eddie had perfect fucking credit. He had a car, he had a free place to live. And when I found out later that he was like boarding, for free at this old man's, this old 90-something-year-old veterans man, at his house, I'm like, of course you would live with somebody that would give you free rent and somebody that you felt like you had control over because this man had dementia. And it's just Carl F. Jones, like, fuck you, nigga, for not protecting your daddy and trying to protect Aditya Singh. And, because Mary Steele told you, because y'all both were running your mouth in the fucking Chicago Tribune, saying, oh, we were going to get him this and get him that. And it's like, y'all already knew what was up because I fucking told Mary. And Mary just went out there, flat out lied. I don't want to talk to this bitch. Do not contact me again on any fucking circumstances. Y'all knew what was going on. And you continued to put this 94-year-old man who, who served his country and protected y'all, gave y'all protected right to free speech and shit. Y'all just put him in danger. And it's like, why would you hang around somebody like Aditya Singh? Like, this relationship is over. He had mentioned marriage, and I was serious about it, but then all of a sudden I'm like, well, hold up, why am I doing all the work? It didn't last long, but my mama said, and I don't like my mother because she's just a fucked up, special kind of evil, but bitch, don't take my mama's money. I appreciate that. But she said, don't let his problems become yours. Meaning, don't let Eddie's problems become yours. She said, listen to what you said. You said you're tired of him. You're tired of talking to him, tired of looking at him. This thing goes all over my YouTube feed. That's actually how I found out. He'd actually called me the day before and said, oh, Calvary, you have been detained. And come to find out the next day, because he called me on the 16th, I think the next day, the 17th, I woke up at like 6:34 or 6:37 in the morning. I picked up my phone, I looked at it, and guess whose face I saw on the motherfucking news feed? Addie's face, Aditya Udai Singh's face, my then romantic partner. I saw his face on the news feed, and I was like, they didn't just put him up there for having like an expired visa. Nope, come to find out, this nigga had found a badge that didn't belong to him, was pretending to be the operations manager. Bitch, I ain't never dated no operations manager or nothing. And he had been living there the whole time. I knew that because he told me, but then he told me he missed his flight. And I was like, you better get your ass back on there. And what he did was he just kind of muted the phone. And actually, to pretend that he was talking to, somebody to try to get back on the flight. So, oh, no, I can't do it. But see, also, too, he did that a couple other times. Like when he pretended he was coming from India, taking a 24-hour flight, he called me and said he was in Hong Kong. What he did was he blocked my number for like 24 hours to make it seem like his phone was out of service. And then he showed up to the Airbnb where I was, you know, again, being abused by the host, having a lot of fucking problems. And this was at Addie's expense. Addie literally would just give money to crooks and criminals. But like all of this, trying to name, you know, trying to destroy somebody who already, you know, I wouldn't say had their shit together, but I would say have my shit together in terms of like starting a business and going forward with it. It didn't matter if I was houseless or not. Like, I'm going to have a fucking business. And I do. They're all registered, you know, in the state of California and Utah. And he was just mad about that. And he wasted all of his money trying to destroy me. And he was even calling me from jail, trying to, you know, control me. And I'm like, nigga, you have no control of me. You are literally in fucking jail. Like, who you trying to fool? Finally, he stopped calling me in March. And I have not heard from him since. And that is when the relationship ended. The second time I tried to end a relationship with him last year in 2020 was in September. But again, under duress, he caused a lot of problems that I hadn't realized he was causing at the time. And he wouldn't leave me alone. So the relationship remained, and it was forced out of duress because I had no interest in him. And, you know, so, well, you know, like, so, you know, I didn't really care about him, but I cared enough, you know, to decide to marry him because I would have had a say, you know, in him having mental health breakdowns. But frankly, he can stay where the fuck he's at. I don't really give a fuck because he is a danger to society. I do agree with the judge named Susanna Ortiz. He did not stay at that airport because of COVID. He stayed there literally because he ran out of motherfucking money, spending it, giving money to crooks and thieves, and, you know, like lying about having a job. He fabricated his whole life to me. I would never be in a relationship with somebody who's got that many fucking problems. Why would I, you know, like, why would I believe that this nigga gonna be sitting here lying when it looked like he got money and looked like he got his shit together? It's not, I don't care. Either way, please keep him in jail. You're welcome to contact me, but this is my statement for you, Adrienne E. Davis, as well as Susanna Ortiz. Or is it Susan Ortiz? I don't know. It's been a minute, but I will not be granting any interviews with any mainstream media outlets. I created this video as a statement, but I'm also aware of the Fair Use Act, and I am very strict about controlling my image. So legally, anybody has the right to use this video as fair use. If you want to license this for any programs, the answer is no. None of my content can be licensed. You're not going to make any money off of it. It's just not going to fucking happen. I'm not interested. When I was ready to give interviews, spoke with ABC4, but I did retract permission to use the photographs that I provided because they were like, oh, can we get your leads? I'm like, no, you don't need my fucking leads, bitch, okay? Also, the people to the former landlord, you know, Bernard Evans, filing, because a lot of those complaints actually were false on the notice, saying that, you know, what's her name? What's the bitch's name? Michelle, I can't think of that bitch last name, but it doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, she said that there was a camera crew, you know, because she doesn't own the house. The address is 229 South 700 East. That's where me and Eddie used to live. We lived upstairs. Them crazy people lived downstairs as a child. There's like a dad named Matthew. There's Michelle, and there's Danielle, Danny, whatever the fuck. Again, this isn't doxing. Unfortunately, this is public information. It literally is available at the courthouse. But Michelle did sign an affidavit saying that, because she liked to behave like the house was hers, but the lady's cuckoo, but she ain't stupid. But she liked to pretend that it was her house. Like, bitch, this is not your property. Because there are two properties right next to it. We actually had a shared parking space in the back. So James, Spin Love did inform me, he's like, it's a shared space. If you want to go do an interview in the backyard, you can do that. It's a shared space. You know, I lived there at the time. I legally had the rights to do so. So nobody else's face was in it. It literally was just me standing against like a wall of the parking garage of the property that was next door. And she stated that, what's her name? Michelle stated that, she said that I had a camera crew there, which was Nicole Newman and her camera person from ABC4 Utah. And she said that I would come downstairs yelling and screaming at her like, bitch, I can tell you one fucking thing. Having been diagnosed with precancer, I was in a lot of pain at the time. I was face down in my bed, quite literally face down in my bed on my mattress. I could not move. I couldn't do anything. I was mentally and emotionally just, I don't know if it's exhausted, but it hurt me to the point to where I couldn't move around and do much. My house was a fucking mess. And there's this bullshit that was going on with Addie. This was all happening at one fucking time, and I couldn't take care of myself. Just knocked me off my feet. I feel much better now that Addie is not part of my life. I don't want him to be, but I will happily be here to give you all and any information I can. Also, I want to say a word to Addie's mama, Sona Singh, Addie's daddy, Anand Singh, and Addie's fucked up little sister. What is that bitch's name? What's her name? God damn it, I cannot think of these people's names. What's her name? What is Addie's sister's name? Oh, Anuja. Roy, formerly Singh. And you know, your fucked up little husband too. Addie's sister, her name on Instagram is Inner Hughes, INNERHUES, as in shut the fuck up. This bitch sent me a request on Instagram. I was like, hey, what's up? You know, I was your brother's partner. You know, add me, we could talk. I like you, look like your mom, all of that. But then I guess once she looked at my pictures, she got what she needed. But I'm just saying, bitch, do not contact me. I ain't playing that shit. This is the United States. We're not going to have any fucking problems. I will sue the fuck out of you, bitch. I will take you to national court. I ain't doing it. I'm not protecting your brother, Sona. This bitch over here, Sona, she's like, oh, don't talk to the media. Bitch, I'm not about to protect your fucking criminal ass son who done came here, got a visa, filled out all the paperwork, and fucked up his life. Because it's not going to be a case of like, oh, he didn't know what he was doing. And that. No. Addie made conscious decisions to pretend that he had a job, and he created a little story to, you know, make it try to build up to seem like he lost his job. He knew what he was doing when he stayed at that airport. Yeah, he got some mental health issues, but he is by no means fucking stupid. He knew what he was doing. He wasted my time. He defrauded me. He defrauded Christian, my former business attorney. He defrauded Darcy of Two Local Gals, as well as the carpet cleaning service that she hired to clean up my house, technically our house, but he didn't live there at that point because he was in California. You know, when he lied to me and said he's in India, and he stole, you know, money and services and time from Emily Smollett and her husband, Juan Betancourt. I don't appreciate that. He also stole money from my mama, knowing full well that Mary Steele and Carl F. Jones were going to buy him a fucking bus ticket back to California because he knew he would be safe there. And he said, yes, yeah, I'll come back. But he already knew he had a plan. And he kept saying his phone didn't work. His phone didn't work. His phone didn't work. His phone didn't work. But then when he got to, you know, that facility, a safe haven, all of a sudden his phone worked. He said, oh yeah, someone fixed it for me. I'm like, it was never broken. Oh, and then he didn't even take this whole thing seriously. When he was talking to me via Duo, you know, he's like, oh, the guys go, did you want to meet my roommates? I just covered the camera. I was like, no, I don't want to meet your fucking criminal ass fucking, you know, like cellmates. I don't want to meet these people. But he just kind of thought this was a joke. This was fun. All of this, you know, but like while he had no plans on showing up in court, he left me to deal with all that, knowing that I had a precancer diagnosis. And, you know, let me tell you something about that precancer diagnosis. He was on the phone when that then doctor, Dr. Lilja, fuck that bitch. First she told me I had cancer, then she said it was precancer, okay? And he was on the phone with me. He was on the phone with me, but he was still in the United States. He was actually at his house in California based on, you know, like based on the dates. When I got a call saying that, you know, Christian Lilja said I had cancer. I started crying, but it was brief, like just like that, and then it stopped. It was like, cry, stop. That was it. It literally did not go on longer than like a second. And Addy pretended to be in India. He continued to be in India while I had this diagnosis, and I was like upset about it. So it says a lot about his character. Like I said, I did try to contact him a few more times, and somebody who worked there told me, he said, someone at the front desk said, oh, he's Aditya Singh says that you're basically harassing him. And I'm like, oh, is that what he's saying? I'm harassing him even though he, you know, had like court shit over here that he's been ignoring. His public defender also knew what was going on, that he had been started ignoring it. And he would call and harass. Addy used to call and harass me because I didn't really bother with him. You know, because the narcissist, and Addy's a very weak narcissist. Like, I mean weak. To have fucked up his whole life and still just being delusional enough to think that he was controlling me while he's in jail. But like, the truth is, motherfucker ain't never had control of me. Like, bitch, nobody controls me. I'm just saying. It's just a typical American thing, but most Americans, you ain't gonna tell them what to do. That's not gonna fucking happen. Maybe that's something in your fucking culture, you know, Addy Bear, whatever the fuck, but like, it just ain't flying here. And you met my family. I'm the nice one. So I'm just saying, I just wanted to let you know, Adrienne E. Davis, Addy has court tomorrow, which is October. Let's see, it's the first day of October tomorrow. Everybody, please send me money. My Venmo is @thegayestgoth. And that's really it, because I have to make sure that me and my cats have a place to stay. After tomorrow, I don't have any more money. I've spent. I do need to pay for my storage. There's a late fee tacked on to that. You know, I had to stop making videos. I had to take my content down. You know, tens of thousands of hours lost, you know, because I couldn't do it for fear of, you know, being harassed. And at this point, I don't really give a fuck. I don't want anybody contacting my family or harassing them. So, you know, I want to make sure that they're taken care of. But at the end of the day, this has cost me so much. Because this nigga was upset that he fucked up and made bad decisions. Like, bitch, I wish I had gone to fucking college and got a fucking degree and had all of that. What you had, which he had. But I don't feel sorry for him. Eddie's plans were intentional. He did know what he was doing. He's not stupid. I mean, stupid, yes, but he's not stupid in the fact that he knows the difference between right and wrong. He is not insane. He might try to pretend he is, but that's when we'll bust your bubble. I was in a relationship with this motherfucker for a year, and I got plenty. I have hours and hours of video footage with this motherfucker and Eddie. Aditya Udai Singh is not stupid. As for the rest of your fucked up family, that's you, Anand Singh, Sona Singh, you know, Anuja Lika Roy, and your fucked up little husband. Do not contact me. I don't want to talk to you. Do not contact and harass my family. So I'm so yeah, I'm gonna tell you, like, masks, like, it's been a year and a half with this shit, and still just haven't figured out how to keep glasses on with masks. But anyway, so that is all. Please contact me for any further questions. I'll catch you all later. Bye. Venmo me @thegayestgoth, and also go to GoFundMe.com/F as in fund/Crescent Youth Housing Alliance, and make a donation there. Thank you. But send me money first. I'll come first.